Buren Township of Van Buren Board of Trustees, June 19, 2012, special work session meeting is called to order at 7 p.m. This meeting is in accordance with the Open Meetings Act and complies with all enters the Open Meetings Act. Roll call, please. Secretary Stevenson.
Trustee Jarrah.
Here.
Attorney McCullough.
Here.
Trustee Partridge. Here. Trustee Ostrowski.
Here.
Secretary Stevenson is here. Trustee Hart.
Here.
Treasurer Bud. Here. Clerk Wright is excused. And Supervisor White.
Here. And with that, we will move to comments and non-agenda items. Non-agenda items for the special work study.
Good evening, Board. I know it's informal, so I'm not dressed for the occasion other than the formality. A couple different items. First item is I had a chance today to attend the LDFA meeting, and I would like to let the rest of the Board know there's a lot of questions going on with the LDFA. Again, they almost didn't have a meeting because they don't have a quorum. 4 open seats on there that the supervisor has not filled yet. With that problem, there's only 5 normal individuals, and when one is missing, it goes into a stalemate until somebody shows up. We had to wait 45 minutes to have that meeting. That's not how things are run. So I'm just letting you officials know that the LDFA meeting in attendance is very bad. And we've asked to have those seats filled so that they can continue to govern. The second thing that I would like this board to be informed of is that the supervisor has made some comments that were interesting to me, that during the negotiations of the bankruptcy, I asked in the LDFA, if this board, especially the the elected officials that are not full-time in this building, if you were told by the supervisor or informed that during that negotiation process that there could have been liens maybe put on the property that the supervisor had balked at the meeting today, and what his comments were that they didn't want to upset the new owner's Sovereign LLC by getting a lien put on there because the attorney, a attorney that happens to be on the LDFA has suggested that the township to recover or for some sort of recourse to protect us as a township may need to think about putting a lien on that property, and the mechanisms will be in place, but there's going to be some asking from the LDFA to our general counsel how that's going to work. It's a strategic plan, but the problem is some of those people that were at that table today that are not residents of this township, that don't have a dog in this hunt, because they're not on the hook for the money that we're going to be hooked on. We're balking at this individual that's not only a well-documented attorney, but he is also an individual that's asked questions in the past, and he's getting pushback, but he lives in this township. So he has a dog in this hunt other than a member of that LDFA. And we as citizens that were sitting in the audience, obviously residents of Van Buren Township, do have a dog in this hunt. The individuals that were giving him pushback, or an individual that works for the county that doesn't live in this township, didn't want to take any direction or any, I want to say direction from what this other attorney was saying. I don't want to call him an attorney at that board table. What he is he's a member of the LDFA. But he had some good pertinent information that he was getting pushback. I think that you trustees need to start asking some questions, reading some minutes, and looking at some information that's going on in that LDFA that's going to affect us. Because the supervisor has not been communicating it with you since the inception of the sale, after the sale, and what recourses we can have to protect ourselves when we go in default or the bonds are going to be recalled and we don't have the money. So that's the observations that I saw today. Secondly, I FOIA'd some information about this meeting tonight, because when I found out Friday that this meeting was canceled around Wednesday, and it was canceled to do a lack of agenda, we have an agenda. We have an agenda every single meeting, but that agenda has sometimes some things missing, like unfinished business or new business. But the rest of the agenda is there. There's the roll call, there's the Pledge of Allegiance, there's announcements, there's correspondence, there's voucher lists, there's all kinds of other things other than new business or unfinished. But the biggest point is is the non-agenda portion where us residents only get 3 minutes and a minute and a half to talk in a regular meeting, and we don't get that chance to come to another meeting. I had a problem with that. So I FOIA'd and I asked both the clerk, deputy clerk, and the filmographer, or whatever her name is, Allie, did they get any directives that were on paper that says this stuff is canceled and why? And there wasn't anything there until after I FOIA'd, because there was no non-agenda items until afterward. What I'm asking the trustees is protect us and allow us to come to this podium. There should be no reason to cancel for lack of agenda. Because there's always people in this room, especially in an election year. This is a special work study for something you're going to go back to executive session. But if you look in the audience, count the faces, we have nothing to do with that executive session. So we want to be able to talk every time we get a chance to talk about problems in this township. And it shouldn't be hidden because it's an election year, or it shouldn't be hidden because somebody doesn't want to listen to what the constituents have to say, the voters have to say, and the taxpayers have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other non-agenda items? If not, I'll have,
I'll get that fast, okay?
I'm sorry.
To continue on about not having an agenda, I'm certain that there's a lot of homeowners in Buren Township that are in the new floodplain level that FEMA has issued in Buren Township that would beg to differ with that answer for not having a meeting, that there was no agenda. You know, I know we missed the 6-month window for whatever reason, and I'll let other people hammer that subject, but now that we're involved in it, how much longer before these people are going to get some kind of satisfaction? So I think that should have been a very important agenda item that we could have had here tonight. Also, you know, with the increase in crime that we've seen, there's no reason why we shouldn't be talking about that at every meeting. And then again, the Grace Lake Viscount bonds. I mean, why are we ignoring those? Why don't we let us know as citizens that someone does have a handle on it, and that yeah, it's you know, it's a tough wall that we're going to have to climb, but something is being done, even if it's being done behind the scenes. You know, with your negotiations through the lawyers and the new owner of the project, but it's not being shared with the community, and especially if the LDFA is not meeting on a regular basis. And how is Joe Citizen supposed to find out about those things? And then again, here we are, regular scheduled meeting, and last Wednesday, you know, 3 days, there's still 3 days left in the last week to come up with an agenda, and it's already decided by someone that is not on an agenda, so we're not going to meet on Tuesday night. And then all of a sudden there's this meeting that came out later. So I don't think the hide and seek's going to work.
You know, I didn't want to get into this, but since this is a meeting, I want to be consistent. I have been asking at every meeting for the last, I don't know how long, since this FEMA problem came up, to have a written plan. When the board first passed on the $7,100, the motion says, and the directors to provide a written plan. I've been consistently asking for a written plan. I met with the supervisor and with Terry Carroll and Dave Newman, our engineer, over a week ago. I thought we had agreed on what the plan was going to be. I said, put it in writing. The citizens have a right to know what the township is planning to do to help them, and perhaps as important, what the township is not going to do to help some of the people. I haven't gotten the plan yet. And I honestly, I don't know what I can do other than keep asking for it. But there's no plan. In this township hall, I don't think anyone understands what the township is doing compared to the plan.
Well, very good. Very good, Jack.
We have non-agenda audience participation. I don't see the lights on the floor. Are they on?
No.
That's why we have it here.
No.
So,
Well, you know, that's another thing, and I'll jump in, Trustee Hart. We don't have a video policy to know what meetings are supposed to be recorded and played later, what meetings are supposed to be broadcast live. We've had it come to this board at least twice. And Clerk Wright's trying to satisfy you, and he keeps pulling it off the agenda. But as of
scheduled at a different time? Why isn't it being broadcast?
The regular board meeting and the regular work study were canceled for the lack of agenda. There was nothing on the agenda to take action on.
Lack of agenda?
There was no agenda items to take action on.
Well, Supervisor, if you remember, when you first appointed myself and Diane Madigan, Diane and I sat down in my kitchen and hammered out an agenda so that we'd always have a reason to talk, so that we could carry forth the mission of the township, which was to bring the residents, bring local government closer to the people. That's why we came up with the police and fire briefing. You supported that, you encouraged it, you thought it was a great idea. So unless you have items that are absolutely canceled, finalized, done with, there should always be a meeting. You have open-ended agenda items all the time. Why would you cancel a meeting, not broadcast it, cancel it, reschedule it, and then change the time? How does that look to the residents?
There were no agenda items
You
to
have
take
agenda
action on.
items. You have agenda items because those items are closed out. You have residents that should be able to answer, answer questions and ask questions. There's always agenda items because you always have residents to answer to.
That's the question.
There's always an agenda, Paul. You just didn't present an agenda. There's always going to be an agenda if you would give it half an effort. But you don't want to have an agenda, let's face it. The fact is, in Michigan today, if you would look on the television, at any time on the news today, there's a problem with this K2 drug, synthetic marijuana. Other townships and other cities are addressing. They have policy to deal with it. This is one thing that should be on the agenda here in this township. We need to know what businesses in our community are selling these synthetic drugs to children. That's the #1 item that should be on your agenda. But you're not even concerned with that. The other thing, like I said last work study, I asked over a year ago for you to adopt the Michigan State Ethics Law as a local ordinance. That should be on your agenda until that law is adopted. But you won't take any effort to pass that as a local ordinance. You won't do anything about it. People have come to this podium for 3.5 years and brought problems to you, and like I said, they might as well address this wall because you never get back to the public through the process of these meetings. So it's not that there isn't an agenda because you don't consult with your board to find out if there is an agenda. You don't have an agenda, therefore there's no need for a meeting. And how convenient that it's so close to the election and you don't want to look bad because Mr. Delaney and other people in this audience will stand up here and throw stones at you because of the ignorance that you show every meeting. Thank you, sir. Thank you for what I said. I appreciate it.
Good evening, everybody. I haven't been here nearly a year because of illness. I'm married to my king. It's very touching to this point. So I got to come up here tonight. To hear a lack of transparency to us is awful. What's wrong with all of it? Mr. Jeff Jarrett there has the guts to come right and tell you people this is wrong. There should have been an agenda. We had even one item. One item. That's what you hear. I'd like to know how many of these people on this board said it's okay to not have an agenda. How many of you? Did it go through what every one of you asked? Do we need an agenda? Did it require that you would be part of when you can dismiss that you don't have an agenda? Please answer the question.
You've heard that meeting. I mean, I've had other supervisors, I've served under 3, that have consulted with the board on agenda items in the past.
I've never seen it shut down before. It's not going to be here. I cannot believe this. It's not because I want you all to know that I have one vote. I respect that vote. That's my promise that I will defend my democracy in this wonderful community. I'm tired of this. I can't believe the lack of transparency here with you people. I couldn't believe I'd hear something like this. I was told nobody told me to go out until we come to the meeting. I read it. I said, I need to go tonight. And then to hear all this BS, I cannot believe you people. Mr. White, what do you think about this?
I would like to answer that, my feelings are, we were not asked if we wanted this meeting canceled. I had asked Mr. McClanahan to have a K2 ordinance on the next board at the last board meeting, and he and I talked about it. So I was surprised that that wasn't an agenda item. And I did not know until I saw it the same way you did when it came across.
Thank you very much for your response. I appreciate that. Does any of you on this board have anything to say about why you didn't question this? Or you just said, okay, so be it?
Jane, when someone has an agenda item to be placed on the agenda, it goes through the supervisor's office. And if you have received anything to be placed on the agenda, that's why there,
I can't believe it.
that's why there would be no, this is the first section that says no items for an agenda.
I cannot believe it.
Jane,
Yes, sir.
not only was I wasn't consulted on whether or not, in fact, I didn't really receive notice of the cancellation, but she understood the meeting was going to be canceled. I, on Saturday or Sunday, went online on the meetings and saw that the proposal was canceled on our website under the meeting. I think there was a notice of cancellation put into my box, but, not only was I not consulted, there really wasn't a notice of cancellation email to us. But actually, having said that, I mean, when I hear this meeting is being canceled on a 94-degree summer day, there was some sense of relief, to be honest with you, Jane. I mean, I have to admit it. I have to admit it. When I heard we didn't have an agenda.
I don't blame you. We all got 100 things to do, but this is important, guys.
Well, I understand, Jane, and I didn't realize, Jane, I certainly didn't realize that there were that many people with a non-agenda item that wanted to bring up and address the board. And I can understand it. I mean, particularly my frustration with the FEMA problem. When I see the lady in the audience who's got a problem.
Exactly.
And I would expect that they would want to question the board and find out the answers. Good luck, because I haven't been able to get the answers.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. I rode in the Strawberry Festival up on the boat. All I did was yell from the time that we left the school. Beautiful Belleville, come join us. Thank you for coming out in hot weather. The seniors, every one of them. I didn't mention one politician. This is a beautiful town, and we have to go through something like this. No transparency. I'm sorry to hear this. I never dreamed that this would come up like this. I just dropped in here. I know I screamed the afternoon to stop me through the order. Take me wherever you want. I'm ready.
We need the camera.
I've got two questions, or two issues. At the last board meeting, Director McClanahan stated that I don't know who he is working on an emergency ordinance for K2. What, are you still working on it, and who are you working on it with? I know the Public Safety Committee, we have not been approached, we have not seen anything.
Research that I did a little 3 weeks ago revealed a couple of things. Number one, that none of our retail establishments in Buren Township are offering those substances for sale. Not one. We checked. The second thing was that the state legislature at that time was working on 3 or 4 bills that would outlaw those substances under state law by the end of the
certified police officers, when those bills are signed, we have the capability to enforce state law. So, considering the urgency at the state level, in terms of rushing through to put an ordinance through to ban something that we don't even have in our township, we'll enforce the state law.
And Diane, just so you know, that bill was signed in, on the
I
news,
saw that
and the
today.
governor signed it.
But that bill that was signed by the governor, is that for use and possession, or is that just for sale?
I think it involves, I haven't seen it yet, but I think it involves sale. An officer sale.
When we talked last about this at the last board meeting, no, you, Diane, or one of the others that brought it up and said, K2 is a name of certain products today. It could be a 1, 2, 3
Well,
product.
synthetic marijuana.
Right. So the concern was, in the community that we heard, was that all these type of products that can do these kind of hallucinogenic things to your body, to your children, is what we're really focusing on, and not just saying banning K2. So we have to be really careful and really study those laws that are going to be entered into the books and make sure they're covering us. Because we certainly don't want anyone else getting into that.
Okay,
And it doesn't mean that tomorrow, even though we weren't selling, any of our shops weren't selling it last week, doesn't mean they're not selling it tomorrow.
I understand that, but were you aware that there was work being done on an emergency ordinance?
Here, no, but with the state, yes.
Okay, well, he said that we were working on it.
Well, yeah, when I talked to him, I talked to him on Tuesday, or after the Monday board meeting, or at the work study, and he was going to get a copy of the Bloomfield Hills, because we talked about that, and he was going to get that ordinance, and I said, well, that was his comment to me, that he was going to get a copy of it, and yes, you gave it to the board that night. And the thing that I said to him was, we needed to get it together. I do know that the bill that the governor signed today is against K2 and any synthetic drug. And it will also take into effect anything that is recontacted that gives the same result. That's supposedly what would be covered in that bill he signed today.
Well, I've got two issues, like I said. I attended the LDFA meeting, and one of the agenda items was an update on sale of Grass Lake property. I think the community would like to know what impact does that have on the bond payment for this year. We will owe 55 or pay $55 million over the course of these bonds. We do not own that property. I think we could have come out and give a summary of that meeting, just letting us know, let the citizens know. Do you have anything to say? I'm finished.
Okay. The impact on the discount sale is directly related to the taxable value of that sale. And the taxable value of the building decreased tremendously because of this. It will have an effect on the amount of tax revenues that we receive in the future.
Do you have some figures to go with that dramatically?
That varies. The taxable value decreased to $34 million from $8.5 million.
So they will be paying taxes on $32 million.
$34 million.
$34 million.
This year. Then that'll vary in years to come.
So that's half of what they'll be paying.
1/3.
1/3.
Well, not quite 1/3. It's probably 34 million versus 18 million.
And where are the funds for that? In the dump? How are we going to pay that bill next year?
There is
That
money.
$1 million bill.
You were at the meeting,
Yeah.
and you heard the comment made that there's money currently in that fund because of the settlement agreement with Disney to carry us more than likely into 2018, at that point in time. They'll have to be addressed prior to us reaching the shortfall. The settlement agreement states that Disney and I will negotiate with Buren Township the amount of shortfall and make a timely payment lot.
But that agreement is not with Sovereign Partners who owns that property now, right?
I do not know, because I do not know what the Viscount as a sovereign agreement is. I don't know what kind of qualifications that was entered into that. I can tell you. Trustee Hart, we had meetings over there, Paul.
Just think up, I can barely hear.
We've had meetings with this.
Excuse me, we should probably have, can you turn the?
Yeah.
We've had meetings, Diane, with this year, and we've had some very serious discussions with them. I've been at those, Paul's been at them. And the way that sale was structured, Sovereign does not, this guy did not cascade that payment to Sovereign. That is somewhat in dispute in our minds, that we think it should, but we also understand that there's an agreement that this guy will address the shortfall. I personally wasn't happy with it. Most people aren't. We want to get that language straightened. We're not done yet. There's a lot of work to do in that area, but they said that they will come to the table and address that shortfall when it happens.
Okay, one more question, then I'm done. What is the impact of the sale of the Vistiana property with the methane plant? The Hoosier Energy cogen plant?
What's
Is
the
there any,
impact of
is
the
there
sale?
any impact of that? Supervisor White?
There's no impact as I'm aware of.
Sovereign was totally aware of it.
You were?
Yeah.
Supervisor Board,
Thank you.
Trustee Gustos.
as you know, I guess that Hoosier, has the final site plan not been approved yet?
I don't think so, no.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle. I was here, I don't know, maybe a few months ago. I purchased a home in Victoria Park. I did finally get to move in, thank God. There's a few board members that was very helpful. The majority of them were not very helpful. I came to this area looking for a home. I thought I was going to find, to be able to move in and be happy. And I had to fight tooth and nail every step of the way. I've lived all over Michigan. I've lived out of state. I've owned homes before. I've never come across this problem before. The director in the water department was horrible. Everything I asked him was a complete no, no answers, no nothing, no this, no that, no this. I just don't think this is the way you should treat your citizens. You know, we vote for you, we put you in here hoping that you can help us when we have issues. And I had no help, like I said, a few people did step up to the plate. Thank God for them. And I just hope that nobody else ever has to go through this. I lost 3 family members at the end of last year, and this was my big thing, moving. I was so excited, and you guys took all the joy out of it. And there's going to be a vote coming up here, and I hope you guys really stop and think about the way you have treated some people in this area.
Good speech.
I was told I was going to get my application for the Loma on June 4th. June 4th, they were mailed on June 4th. I didn't get them on June 4th, on June 5th. I was told at the meeting, June 5th, that they were mailed that day. I did not get it that Wednesday. I finally got it on Thursday. And I'm already paying flood insurance because it does May 21st. So on that Monday, which I believe was June 11th, I got a letter from my mortgage company saying, effective August 1st, they were going to put my account into escrow. So I panicked and I called Terry Carroll and I said, well, Lori from Region 5 could expedite my loan. And could you give me a call back? And I didn't get a call back, so I went to the township and Sherry Budd handled it for me. She called Dave Newmer and said that the loans were being sent out, but I still have not gotten a call back from Terry Carroll. That was in last Monday or Tuesday. And I think as a citizen, I should have
should have had a right, he should have given me a call back.
Julie, did you get anything yet saying that your property
No.
was removed?
No, but,
Is that what you were expecting?
yes, because then I have to send it to the mortgage company.
Yeah, there's a lot of miscommunication.
I
You
know.
and I talked, you thought you were getting something that you
Right.
could take to the mortgage company, and in fact, it hadn't even been submitted.
Right, and then Sherry called Dave Newmer, and he said, I should be getting it this week, right, Sherry?
He didn't really state a time. He said it would be sent in and you would get something sent that you would give. And then, I think, like most people, you thought he was gonna send you something back. And I told him I'm as frustrated as Julie is here.
I'm devastated.
I don't know why we can't have a plan.
Because I
It's gonna
think
be
that's what I did
when
not.
and how it's gonna be handled.
Because in every letter that I sent to all of you, you read from that email from Lori from Region 5, she was going to expedite my loan.
And you got that through Senator Levin's office.
Right, because, I mean, you know, boom, 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 you know, I can have it done, and I'm still in limbo. And devastation is going to hit me August 1st, and I'm already paying flood insurance. So,
Now, I've heard horror stories about escrow accounts that are there for taxes.
right, this is for insurance, plus insurance, my regular insurance.
Yeah, no, it's not a good situation.
No.
It's clearly not of this township's making. This is a theme on the federal government. But once we decide we're going to get involved and try to help our citizens, which is right and proper to do, there should be a plan, and everybody should know what the rules are, who it's going to apply to, who it's not going to apply to. I've been requesting that because people like you should be able to look at a written plan and know exactly what to expect. You shouldn't be tearing your hair out.
So I would like to know, when am I going to be able to send something to my insurance company? My mortgage company, no one knows.
Well, I mean, the simple answer from me, and I think this is cutting through all of the chaff and the political rhetoric, we're wrong if we try to represent that to you. When you file your income tax, how long does it take you to get a refund? I mean, that's up to the federal government. When you file an application for a loan, how long does it take them to get it back? I've heard a lot of different things. Dave Newmer, our engineer, says when they email that in, that he has heard that they're getting 2- and 3-day turnarounds on the loan request. Literature that I've read that said it could take up to 60 days. I think they're trying to expedite that. But no one at the township, that's beyond our control once it's filed. But I think that there are representations being made to people that they're expecting that they're going to get this letter that they're going to take to their mortgage company because no one wants to stand up and say, it'll take some time.
But I had it in,
No, I know.
and I expressed that in my voicemail, and it was going to be expedited. Now, if I'm going to have an escrow on account of someone negligence, I mean, I don't know, I can't have that loan and I can't send it in to work.
I don't know.
Probably good.
I probably could, if I got a phone call back.
Well, I mean, you have talked to Senator Levin's office. I saw your response.
Right.
You were put into direct contact with the people in regional office. The lady at the regional office says, please send the loan to my attention. I'll see that it's expedited.
Right.
I know that you had given that to Director Carroll. I don't think that happened.
Thanks again, Jack. Keep going.
Well, I don't,
You just get caught in the middle on something.
I just want this nightmare to end.
It's not right that you should be caught in the middle. You should be given straight, clear answers. If people don't know the answers, they should at least stand up and say, we really don't know, but we're trying. And I think you'd recognize that. I mean, I think you'd appreciate an honest answer that we're trying, not being told things are going to happen and they aren't.
That's really good.
Thank you.
I spoke about this at the VBT campus, but some of you may have missed that night. The city of Livonia was handling the FEMA issue months before Buren Township touched it. So now we have residents showing up here, obviously distraught, there are probably going to be more and more of them showing up when they realize where they're supposed to come for those people who don't really understand how the whole process is being handled. But we don't have, sure we have an answer, an honest answer, which honesty is always appreciated, but by when that was a simple request for a woman who was distraught about this, but not when. Not when. Not which, what I want to know is which one of you saw the information that Terry Carroll submitted? Supervisor White, may I ask all of the members of the board?
No.
You'll answer on behalf of all the board members?
The information was submitted by Wade.
Okay, and do you have like one of those, they're like a ladybug or something that would show that you would set the piece of paper down with a ladybug over it and it would appear on the wall, that on this date, this is what was sent? And this is
I
what was
don't have
sent.
this information, but we can get
Sorry?
I do not have that information, but we can get that information.
So you've never seen it, just Wade Trim, you're having that they handled it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So none of the other members of the board, they would not if they said that they had, so, okay.
No, I haven't seen anything, and I've been trying to stay on top of this, but it
Do you get that this is
frustrating.
crazy that Levin's office is handling this and the township isn't? If you want to look at red tape, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Where in the world, and I'm sorry, but where in the world is the accountability on this? Why are we having people sit there and just stare or write? Like, who has been looking into this? Which of the board members have been looking into this? Which of the board members is responsible for Terry Carroll?
Get the answer. At the Strawberry Festival, I've been talking to people. I've requested to see letters that were sent out to the individuals. I said, I thought that if we are going to be charging $175, it ought to be vetted by our attorney. We ought to know what our obligation is, what representations are being made. I have not seen all of those letters. I talked to different people. They've got different letters. I don't know how many different letters, different forms have been sent out.
Who's drafting the letters,
When I talk to the
though?
residents, they're telling me they've received things that others have not. Some of them say it says pay $175. Others, it doesn't say $175. Some say if you have a mortgage, we'll do something. Others say if you don't have a mortgage, we won't do anything. I don't know. I can't find out. I've asked. I've had a meeting with the supervisor and with Terry Carroll. I thought we were going to get a written plan out of that meeting, and nothing's happened.
Okay, well, I did have,
All of those ones.
which one?
When Julie was in my office, I called Dave. The ones he had, and I'm sure he has a list of those, had to have the engineer's seal on it, or his seal on it, because they did the engineering, so it had to have a seal on it. Those, she was in my office on a Friday, they all were sent in on Monday.
I appreciate that, Sherry. I would count that you would be the one who would do that. But now, I would think that this person would want to know which department is holding the copies of all those letters. Because I know for certain that if you're running a government entity, you got to have a paper trail, whether it's an email paper trail or a paper trail. You've got to have a file with these addresses, and whether or not you file them by address or by homeowner name, you've got to have a file. So that she can look at the file and see what was sent on her behalf and how it's being processed. And who is handling that? I'm going to ask, if you don't mind.
It should be Dave Newmer, and he should have it. I will call him tomorrow to make sure he has it, because he is the last one that handled them, because he had to have the seal. I did ask him while Julie was there, would we get a copy of it? And he said no. What she would get back is from the agency they were sent to. And he also knew that she had the letter saying that, you know, who to expedite it to. Now, I did not ask him who he sent it to, but I can find out, and he should have a list of those that were sent.
Well, that would be the information that you gave to this Julie person, though, correct?
And
So, Newmer. Would that help you at all, ma'am?
No, I even got a letter to Cotter this week saying that he spoke with Lori Kuipers in Region 5 and they're aware of my situation.
McCotter?
Yeah.
From McCotter, okay? You know, I don't know. Like, okay, so somebody who's on his way out is still handling this, okay? I don't know, I just have a problem with this.
He spoke with Region 5 this week and Lori Kuipers too. They're aware of me. But no one else is.
And nothing from Newmer and nothing from Wade Trim.
And Julie, I don't mean to slight you, but it's
She's got
not
something,
just
you
your
know what I'm saying?
problem.
Oh, I know.
She has something. She has to have something in writing that's demonstrating that we are acting on her behalf.
But how many people are paying flood insurance right now?
We don't know. We don't know how many people will take
We would know that.
$175,000. We don't know what we're representing we're going to do for the $100,000.
Who is numerous boss? Which one of the elected officials is a numerous boss? Paul White? So Paul White and the person who's supposed to be responsible for numerous, you don't get a response. Okay, I guess that's it. Other than K2, Wayne County processed, and I'm going to miss the words, I don't have my exact writing, an emergency ban on K2, potpourri, spice, whatever you want to call it. In Livonia, they went ahead to all of those businesses and told them, you need to stop immediately, and they all did. I was told, and I don't have that in writing, so it doesn't hold any weight, I guess, but that there were businesses in Van Buren Township selling it. I know I went to that mobile station, and my kids had seen potpourri or something, and they grabbed a hold of it, and they had to say, Mom, what is this? And it says, and I said, it says potpourri. I said, but that doesn't look like what potpourri is. This was a long time ago. I don't know if they stopped carrying it voluntarily, but that was there for sale a long time ago. So I don't believe that there weren't any. I think that needs a little more research, because that is now, as we know, it went from Wayne County to Snyder. So it.
Shall I clarify?
Yes, you can. Thank you
I
for your
appreciate
comments,
that.
Mrs. Cole. Thank you. Reverend Fanning, please.
Okay, I have something on my.
The night of the last board meeting, while the meeting was in session, I had the SIU unit check every single, in an undercover capacity, in an attempt to purchase the product. Had them check every retail outlet in Van Buren Township, and not one of them offered the substance per se.
Okay, well that would be great. That's great.
I would like to really bring this up again, so whatever happens, happens. You know, if we have a problem and we go even to the field, I came to so many meetings, it's just not that I picked this one. It's to be involved and be aware of what's here. I happened to go to this meeting, and this man that was interviewing happened to be one of my relatives and other people that were involved over this issue. So anyway, they come in, and this guy that was the head of it, he's going over this water bit, was so nasty that he said, if you come in here with an attitude, is that the way you treat people? My son turned around and looked, he said, if I had insulted anybody here, they said, no, this guy has an attitude. He comes in from Wayne, Michigan. I'll fix these people out in Belleville. Been here a year and a half. That's how appeals are handled. Is that the way that this has to be? Or even if you go with the problem with these people, it's just like what they're saying with their problems. I mean, this is terrible when you got to have a problem and you can't go to the people that supposedly be in charge and be talked to like that. First time. This is awful. So this old guy that's in Wayne, Michigan, I'm tired of it. I am tired of it too. I'm 90 years old. I have 10 more years to 100 years old. I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I will die happy if this one little promise that I have that I will vote for democracy and be respectful to everybody. Is it good for everybody? And I'm tired of this. When I heard this old book come from Wayne, Michigan to say this.
Jane.
I don't care. I can swear at him.
You know, Mr. McDonald is one of the nicest people in this township.
He's not the one that said it, but the other will go. Because here in Belleville, it's a great big job, and this is the way he handles them. Mr. White, you know that's not. That's not the way you handle them, is it? Is that what you expect out of us when we voted for you and this whole board?
I always try to be very professional, very courteous to everyone.
He's very courteous. Are you saying I'm lying?
No, Jane, I'm not. Okay, because I perspective. Mr. McDonald, that's the person.
I'm not talking about Mr.
Well, I don't know who
McDonald.
you're talking about, Jane.
I'm talking to the other guy that was on that floor. Who was it? He's gonna get it, he'll show that, because he comes to Velvet, I'll straighten it. Yeah. And he's going to get the great big contract and all this. How can it be that so arrogant to us? This is arrogant. I didn't say McDonald said the same. I'm saying that they're all book
Jane, you're 3 minutes.
Thank you.
This is the reason when these other ones talk about issues, I'm talking about this issue. This is very bad when you can't get even a kind, little bit of respect of us, the taxpayers.
Well,
He's going to be a man who comes in and out and straightens it out.
Jane, your issue needs to go through the proper process, and it is.
What?
Your issue is going through the proper process as we continue through.
Well, he didn't have to be that way. The first few words that come out of his mouth when you go in there, never meet the man before. Well, come here with an attitude. These other people, so be it.
For the record, who is Tommy Donald, associate or assistant, or works the water department?
I don't know who Jane's talking
I
about.
didn't ask that. I said who works side by side with Mr. McDonald that we hired 3 or 4 weeks after McDonald. He came up here at a brush cut, about blonde hair. Who am I talking about, Mr. White? Okay, the foreman. That's who she's talking about. What was his name again, for the record? What White you hired? James. For the record, it's James. Now, moving on real quickly, I want to move on. The reason why we're all here tonight is because a phone call had to be made at 6 o'clock. Number one, because there was a time change, but number two, I had the FOIA at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, why there was no non-agenda. So the reason why we are here is because I got non-agenda put on. What was put out there was a closed session meeting that was canceled by, see ya, nobody comes. Next, I've got FOIAs in my hands here that talk about information between Mr. White and 7 or 8 citizens, public safety committee members, and so on through emails that started Friday afternoon. They won't be brought up until after you talk to your counsel today about them, but I do have the FOIAs, so trust me, they will be brought up. Now, Mr. Carroll's not here to defend himself, so be it. But Mr. Carroll has mucked up some of these things with the Loma, whatever, with Mr. Newmer. Mr. Carroll has also caused problems with this township in the past for money. I've been up to this podium 4 times talking about it. And at the end of the day, Mr. Carroll allowed the complete, almost finished construction of the Wellington project on that service drive over there that's still under construction and doesn't have a permit. Now, your board and your ordinance say that without that planning commission's approval, Mr. Carroll does not have the permission to sign off on that permit to allow that construction to go on. Whether there's any type of repercussions or consequences or whatever, this board needs to look into Mr. Carroll's actions in the past, and if you need to come to me, I've got all the FOIAs. This isn't a witch hunt. This is on white paper documents, and Mr. Carroll has not performed his job satisfactorily in a long time. He's misled, he's lied. He called me more or less a liar. They got Mr. White involved in an argument with me because he sat right there and said that the last carnival that was in the Farmer Jack's parking lot was only 5 days long, when I had already FOIA'd and told this board it was 10 days. And what went on that camera to the public made me look like the liar because they're listening to the director. And you all got an apology the next day, but the township didn't receive it and I didn't receive it. That yes, in turn, Mr. Carroll apologized and that carnival was here 10 solid open days. These are the things that come up here that unless the camera or somebody talks about it, the township doesn't know. All 27,000 residents. Because that was mantra that was put up too. Mr. Delaney, we can't worry about just a couple of you up here. We're in charge and we got to take care of the whole 27,000 people. That's what we're here talking about. What came up in the LDFA meeting today also is a question that I think you trustees need to learn, understand. Mr. Peters asked a question that nobody that wants to push back, employee of the county that's on this board, he said that the Sovereign LLC could be a straw company for GE. And so what he wanted is ask the LDFA to look into finding out if that's the case. Because if GE is standing back here in the wind, and they've got a strong company that wants that property, and they've maneuvered ways to get it for cheaper, and they're gonna work into things, GE is one of the worst companies next to Vistion that we need to trust. And so he brought those things up. I got pushback from both our supervisor, Terry Carroll, and Mr. David Tyler. Okay? I want this board to know what went on because you don't film them. We tape them, but you don't film them. And there was some pertinent information that comes out of these LDFA meetings, the last 3 that we've had. And that's one of them, because if GE is sitting back in the wings to buy this property through Sovereign LLC and it transfers over, and they want tax abatements, and they want this cogen, because guess who is the contributor of the generators that they want to test market there? Is GE. These are GE's products that have never been used yet. They want to use us as guinea pigs, and if they work, they're going to send them overseas. Now, I'm not embellishing. By the way, the word embellishing does not mean lie. It means put a spin on it. That keeps your attention. So the embellisher is up here. That doesn't mean I'm lying. Last but not least,
John, I think your minute and a half is well.
yeah, it is.
Please, thank you.
The last, I'm gonna wrap this up real quick, and I don't want to ask to pull the board for a vote.
Your time is
Would
up,
you,
Tony.
board, ask the general counsel to maybe start a class action suit so that any of the Loma people and any of the residents that had to pay something in the past can find their way to get damages and money back
Thank
in
you
the
for your
future?
comments, John.
Can you do that, trustee?
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Supervisor White, do you have a policy on minutes for commission meetings that usurps the Michigan Open Meetings Act?
First policy that all meetings that have a quorum should have minutes.
Okay, so why is it that the Environmental Commission has changed all their meetings to work studies? They are developing processes as far as we can't use phosphorus in our fertilizer for our landscapers. They develop processes or change policies in regards to recycling. And there's no minutes on this. And this affects the community.
Jeff, you're the liaison. Could you answer that, please?
I don't think you want me to answer.
I'm not saying the minutes and
If you really want the answer to the question, we have not had a meeting in a year and a half because the board would resign. We tried taping 2 minutes.
I'm not talking about
We
taping.
had photographing, televising meetings, and the board felt it was dysfunctional. We couldn't sit at this table and smile into the camera and operate as a functioning board. And the board indicated, many of the members said that they just wouldn't participate. They're volunteers. They're giving their time, and they didn't feel like a function if they were being televised. I kept reporting that to the supervisor. He said, no, in the interest of transparency, all meetings have to be televised. But apparently he said to our chairman and to Terry Carroll, who was handling it, well, if they're work study sessions, they don't have to be televised. So between Terry and the chairman, we've been having work study sessions only so that they didn't have to be televised. It's my understanding that Clerk Wright told our chairman and Terry Carroll that you couldn't take minutes at a work study session. I kept questioning. I said, this board takes minutes of our work study sessions. Why can't we take minutes? No. Terry kept coming back saying he kept asking Clerk Wright, and he was told you couldn't take minutes at a work study session. If you want my honest feeling, it comes down to the fact that we don't want to have a union employee having to be there to take minutes at the Environmental Commission.
Jeff,
I mean, there's a concern, and you know that in public safety,
Oh, I
you got
know. We
a
had
problem
some
getting ASME workers in there to take
But
minutes.
still,
So
the
it's a problem.
Michigan Open Meetings Act states that if you have a quorum, you have a meeting.
Well,
And
we
you at
call
least
it
have
a
to
work
say
study
who was
session,
there and who
Diane,
wasn't.
and it's a problem because we're asked there to make recommendations. We can't make recommendations and we can't do anything because we're in a work study session. Why are we in a work study session? I'm answering because we don't want to have the forum in this room on camera. We want to sit around a round table. If you come to the Environmental Commission, you'll be asked to sit at the table with us, and discussion. We want to operate fairly and fair. That's fine. I mean, if
You're
the
still making
supervisor says it's not going to be that way, fine. I was ready to resign from the environmental commission. I'm not going to function in a dysfunctional body.
Jeff, you have insisted, and I want to speak your words, and I'm going to get into discussion or argument, but you have insisted all along that you do not want those meetings televised. And
I have reflected the will of the board. The board, on more than one occasion, we voted. I go back to the board as a board representative. I've said the supervisor insists that we have a meeting that has to be televised, and I got pushed back saying we're not going to do it. We don't want it. This board can't function the way we've been
I'm
functioning.
going to come from a different angle. I'm talking about the minutes here. Supervisor White, what is required as far as if you have a quorum and minutes at a work study?
if any meeting, if it's called a special meeting, if it's called a closed session, if it's called a work study, a regular board meeting, any meeting where there is a quorum should have minutes.
Absolutely.
Okay, so your director is not adhering to the Michigan Open Meetings Act.
That discussion is...
Diane, can I speak to that? Yeah, I had a discussion with Mr. Carroll today, and some of it was on the environmental commission because the meeting would say cancel, then the next line would say work study. They will no longer look like that. They will say that the meeting is changed to a work study. However, the environmental commission is listed as being in the Denton room. Denton room meetings are not televised.
I'm not talking about
No, wait a
televising.
minute, and I told him today, from now on, there will be minutes. I don't care what you call it, but you can have a regular meeting in the Denton room because it is not photographed. It is not taped, and there will be minutes. If nothing else, if it's a work study, it's just like the work studies here. You have to at least list who was there and what the topic of discussion is. That is going to happen from now on. Yes, he was told by the clerk he didn't need to do that. It's been corrected. It won't happen again. I can tell you that.
How about the
As
past
a matter of
minutes
fact,
of meetings?
I gave him those instructions over 2 weeks ago, that all meetings where there was a quorum must...
Are you going to have him go back to his notes and write those minutes for those work studies?
I have a discussion with him, I don't know about what he's going to think. Steve Parker.
Diane? Yes. Occasionally, the Cultural Advisory Committee has a work study meeting as opposed to a regular meeting. And we have our acting secretary there, and she takes notes. It's not necessarily minutes, but she takes the time to at the topic of conversation.
You just heard the supervisor. All meetings, work studies, or otherwise are supposed to take minutes.
There's a quorum. There's a quorum.
You must not have gotten that memo.
If the minute knows that, you know, this,
Around this township, if you ask people what's the difference between a work study session and a meeting, they'll say one's televised and one's not. That's what people think. That if you don't want to be on television, you call it a work study, and if you want to be on television, it's a meeting.
Are you suggesting that we don't have work studies?
You're the boss. Don't put me in the middle. I can't get a policy. Paul, I consistently have been asking for written plans. I've been consistently, from the time we started, saying you need a video policy. You have to say if you're going to record and play minutes, meetings, you have to say how many times they're going to be played at a minimum, how many times at a maximum. You got to say what meetings are going to be televised, what meetings are not going to be televised, and you have to adhere to it. And for 3.5 years, I've been beating my head against the wall, and we can't get an agreement. Because we don't want, you don't want to have any policies, written down policies. You want to make every decision ad hoc.
That's untrue, Jeff. That policy has come before this board on at least 3 different occasions.
And it's bull because you don't agree with it.
You couldn't get an agreement about mutual consent from all 7 members on this board.
You don't need a mutual consent, Paul. You don't have to have unanimity in order to pass something in this board. I don't understand. Are you saying we pulled because we can't get a unanimous agreement? And pulled because Clerk Wright won't fuck what we want to do.
That's not true.
What they call this real quick. I think most of the topics that have been discussed so far this evening is due to...
Can't hear ya. Speak up.
I think most of the items that have been on this table tonight, discussion, are caused by a lack of following the process or not having a process.
Leadership.
It's simple. I'm not done. We have residents now that are suffering and worrying about their escrow accounts being sucked up because they're going to have to pay for insurance on the properties. Because the supervisor cannot find certified letters that were mailed here. I've asked for those letters. I still haven't seen them. That was a process that was a failure on the supervisor's part, and we're all paying the price for it now. The video policy, Jeff, is accurate. It's been on here several times, and there has not been a quorum vote to approve it. It just wasn't right. So, if you have a policy, I think Karen's gone now, and she talked about you have it up on the wall. Here's step 1, step 2, 3. You follow the process, and you get to the end. And can you make a mistake in that process? You might, along the way. And you can get into a corrective action and fix it. But you don't start out by not grabbing the bull by the horns, doing get a process together, a plan, like Jeff has been asking for several meetings, and we're still not there yet. But it's not just about FEMA. It's about a lot of different processes over the last 3.5 years that don't exist or have not been followed.
Including minutes and telephone.
Minutes, you name it. Cameras aren't on this evening.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
So-
well, that's what I came up here to say. It's obvious that it was left that way for convenience, because it's so confusing. It's supposed to be on the website to look at the agendas to know what's going on. And first it said that the board meeting was canceled, but then it said it was back, but now it's a special work session. So it confuses me. Is it changed to a work session because you didn't want it taped?
No, the regular board meeting was canceled because no director or anyone turned in an agenda item for us to make a motion on and to make a decision on. The special work study session was posted yesterday at 1:15 p.m.
I know when it was posted because John complained.
Pardon me, for a specific issue and specific item. This is a special work study session meeting posted yesterday at 6:18 at 1:15 p.m. And I would like to answer Trustee Jarrett's accusations there, political, and you'll notice that some of the board members take a strong interest in bashing me, but they refuse to take responsibility for an issue that they created at the March 4th meeting, 2003, when they voted in a Viscount bond. And I received an email from the trustee Hart saying to me, "What are you doing?" I have the email. "What are you doing?" It is evident that you are doing nothing, Supervisor White, to correct this.
Is that what it said? It said
That's
save me?
exactly what it
It
says.
said save me?
No, it
Make it very clear. Since you want to talk about this, I'm going to make it very clear. You were sitting on your laurels and doing nothing, and the public is upset. I'm upset. It's time to take the bull by the horns. I said we're going to go meet the CEO and we got close.
I had discussions with them on that.
Paul, that's
And they were
You will be, you will be.
admit it. And now there's a great possibility that the residents will be paying us budget 6 mils, okay? So you want to stand there and bash me, and you expect the same every time, sir.
Paul, if you want to talk about a screw-up, talk about the settlement agreement you came up with
Yes.
to present at this board.
Yes.
Read the details of that. That's the mess I'm trying to clean up after.
And if you want to bring that one up, let's bring up the $765,000. That was from the Columbia Farms property, from the Bond Tree Farm. Okay?
Paul, hey, John. Mr. White exclusively says things out here to the public and throws it out there because something's going to stick. There was never an email sent to me or sent to Paul White saying, save me. I can save myself.
No, your email
I said, and I can pull it out, And I'll have it here for the next meeting, Mr. White, and I'll have it over there if people want to read it. It's time to get going. I want to be part of the team. I want to work on a solution.
You said that you have been, it is evident to me that you have been doing nothing to resolve this problem.
That's what I said.
That's an untrue statement.
You did nothing. You had 0 meetings.
So you're asking me to come up here and ask, and I'll do everything I can to do that.
You created a mess, $450,000 lawsuit within 5-6 months.
Excuse me,
Okay,
it's my
office.
turn.
Guys, come on, let's
Hello?
now you're getting the line up.
Wait a minute, it's my turn.
I guarantee you what you're saying.
No, you don't know what I'm gonna say first. Actually, it's in your behalf. I do remember at the meeting that you asked if you could go and have a discussion with this over at Disney, and we were happy for that because
I wasn't asking anymore, I was going.
I
That's why
know,
he
but it
decided
never
to go.
happened. It never happened, and it should have happened.
It did happen.
Oh, it did? You
I
actually did?
Yes, it did.
Okay. All right, I didn't know you actually got to go. You guys got me so confused, I don't even know what I was talking about. And the other question I had was, how did it get changed to 7 o'clock?
Actually, our work studies usually start at 4 p.m.
Yeah,
But
but how
there's
did
a
it
couple,
change to 7?
there are a couple of folks here who did not get back to me in time to schedule this for 4 p.m. because that was the time that we were going to schedule it. But because they did not receive it, and I wanted to make sure this was posted as early as possible, they didn't get back to me, so we scheduled it at 7 o'clock.
But you say audience, non-agenda items. This was posted so last minute. How would there even be an audience when at the top of this one, it says Charter Township of Van Buren Board of Trustees, June 19, 2012 special work session meeting, tentative agenda. There's no time on here. The only time there was on the other sheet. This one, if you just looked at this, you would have thought, oh, they put the meeting back on there. It's supposed to be at 7:30. We would have all showed up at 7:30.
This is posted. It was posted yesterday.
It's posted and it doesn't say 7, it doesn't say 7 o'clock.
It sure does.
Where?
Really? No, it does not.
No, that's the other sheet.
Here's a notice of posting.
That is not the agenda. That is,
This is a notice of posting as required.
that is a separate, that is not this. You should have had 7 on here. Because on here is where it tells the audience, oh yeah, we still can come to this and we can voice our opinion.
This is a notice of posting.
Well, it just looks to me like that if we would have all shown up at 7:30, you would already be in closed session and we wouldn't have been able to say a darn thing. That's what it looks like.
Good evening, Mr. White. I've been to a lot of township board meetings, cities. I never seen a supervisor get hammered so hard. If I was you, I couldn't take it. I'd run out the door. You must have thick skin. I notice you board members, looks like you're starting to split up a little bit, probably thinking about the election. I don't think you got them all on your side this year. I don't know.
That was never.
I know some of the board members, if I was them, I don't think I'd be behind you. I mean, we tried a lot to do with this house. I mean, you're a good person and everything. You're a pacifier, but I don't know if you can get the job done. I mean, if it wasn't for Mr. Delaney here, we'd have still been looking. Old Butch would have had to hire an attorney and pay a lot of money. I see your attorney's here tonight. Thank goodness, probably. Maybe he can save you. I'd like to ask you a question, seeing your attorney's here. Can you tell me how many lawsuits have you got pending in Van Buren Township without saying I don't know? Because your attorney's here and I'm sure he knows about it. If you could answer...
Actually, I don't think there's any lawsuits pending except what is within the police department, and the police department lawsuits come and go on a pretty regular basis, and those all go to our insurance carrier. As a matter of fact, all lawsuits go to our insurance carrier.
Are you running for supervisor this year again?
I'm sure.
Hey, absolutely.
You see, I had a lot of things to ask you. My mind's kind of... I was kind of watching you guys all arguing. I don't know. I believe one, but I don't believe two. You know, and you probably guess who that is. But anyhow, if I was your board members when the election come, I'd kind of split and go my own way and try and get the votes. But I don't know how you're going to go, but I don't know. Thank you. Have a good night.
Question for the supervisor. When you all have work studies for commissions and committees, have any decisions ever been made at a work study?
In a work study, Reggie, it's just that, it's informational purpose only. And there are not supposed to be any decisions made in work study.
But has there been? Has there been?
We do not make any decisions at our board work studies. All other commissions and committees, no, they're not supposed to make decisions. It's just to discuss an issue, to bring forth information so that everybody knows and understands everything that they possibly can about a specific issue, so that when they do vote on it, they'll have proper knowledge of how to vote on it.
Okay,
There's
thank
no
you.
votes taken in the work study.
Another question. So we had a meeting that was canceled, rescheduled, time changed.
No, it wasn't rescheduled. This is not a regular board meeting. So the meeting was not rescheduled.
Date
This
of
is
the
scheduled.
title, okay.
This is scheduled as a special work study session meeting, which was only determined yesterday morning.
Who made that decision to change it to 7 o'clock? And has there ever been a township board meeting where the time was changed? In the 4 years that you've been supervisor, have you ever once changed the time on a township meeting?
Work studies.
No, my question was, did you ever change the time ever on a township board meeting?
On a regular board meeting.
On a
Regular board meeting, on a regularly scheduled board meeting, the starting time on that is 7:30. On a regularly scheduled work study, and we approved this agenda item in December for the entire year as a requirement, is 4 o'clock. When we have a special work study or a special board meeting, then at that point in time, as I stated, I sent out emails to every single trustee, elected official,
What's the time on the work study?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. And your township board meetings are 7:30. So how'd you come up with 7?
On a regular scheduled work study, it's 4 p.m. We're scheduled out to the end of December. On a regularly scheduled board meeting, it's 7:30, and they're scheduled out to the end of December of this year. On this specific issue here, the special work study, I requested for everybody to get back with me if they could meet a 4 p.m. work study. That did not happen. At 1 p.m., when I did not have everybody's response back, at that point in time, I went to post this. And I posted it for 7 o'clock because normally everybody can make a 7 o'clock meeting.
Who objected to the canceling of the meeting?
Sorry, sir.
Can I answer your question? Yes, we have had meetings at different times. I mean, there are times when we've had special board meetings where we just come in and we have to pass on something.
Did you object to this time?
I forget what, but we.
Did any of you object to it?
It's not unusual to meet at times other than 7. We've had 6 o'clock, we've had
Okay.
times that are.
Did you object to this meeting change for this time? Did any of you speak up as to, no? So you have your attorney here this evening at a meeting where the time's changed, and you can say you've done that in the past, but, you know, it doesn't fit. So you have no taping of the meetings, time changed very quickly, and yet you have your attorney here this evening. Is he being paid to come to a meeting
Yes, he is.
that's not taped? And what is the purpose of that?
Purpose of the special meeting?
No, of your attorney being here.
The attorney
Who's
is
charging
here.
the township, right?
No, absolutely.
Okay, so why is he here? May I ask?
We don't have any idea how long the non-agenda item discussion is going to take. He is here to give us guidance and legal advice on how to proceed with a personnel issue. That's it. That's the only reason he's here.
Okay. Well, may I ask the attorney a question, please, about a legal matter?
No.
No? So, all right, well, then I'll ask you it. So, if the Public Safety Committee has been alerted that there was a public safety concern in a department, are we allowed to come to the podium and speak about that? And you know what issue I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly what issue you mean.
So can we?
No, that is not to be discussed in public. That is a personnel issue. We do not discuss personal issues in public. That's the
Okay.
reason the attorney is here.
So we can't talk about any complaints that were brought forth?
This is a personnel issue.
I'm not talking about the personnel issue, I'm talking about the complaints that were brought to you.
The complaint that was brought to me is a personnel issue, and we will not discuss it.
So are you telling me I can't talk about it?
I'm telling you that we will not entertain any discussion on a personnel issue. No.
Okay, but I can come up here and talk about it, correct? Am I in violation of any law?
Nope.
Am I violating the law by talking about this public safety concern?
Then it may be.
Am I violating the law?
We are not going to discuss a personnel issue.
Am I violating the law by bringing this public safety concern up that you've been well aware of?
That I will ask you not to enter into a discussion of a personnel issue.
It's not a personnel issue, it's a public safety concern.
This is a personnel issue.
You say it's personnel, it's a complaint.
Reggie, I'm asking you to please.
Am I breaking the law? Am I breaking the law, Paul?
You are breaking our rules and regulations.
What's that?
And
What rule, I'm sorry, what rule am I breaking? Please help me understand.
possibly, what do we just now?
Holy smokes, there we go with maybe.
Not an employee, it's not a resident.
Does make any difference. It's a discussion with the board.
So I'm violating the law.
Right.
You never answered. So am I violating the law, township attorney?
Township ordinance.
I find it kind of ironic, I gotta watch the dog and pony show. But you know what, we've had a number of personnel issues in the township hall. You didn't have any problem discussing personnel issues with Bob Queener, Jerry Champagne, Linda Combs. Everybody that's had a problem here, you aired it publicly. You brought all the dirty laundry out here in these meetings and aired it publicly. But all of a sudden, we've got another issue we have to be quiet about. We're paying an attorney here, not your attorney, we keep referring to your attorney, and you somehow think the township attorneys are your personal attorneys because you're using the hell out of them. But the man's sitting here probably making $75, $85 an hour. That's a low rate, that's a low ball, okay? But why he's sitting here at this meeting tonight, I don't understand. This should have been taken care of in a different manner. But again, it's our township money paying our township representative here, and you're spending the money irresponsibly, and you don't want to talk about an issue that deals with a certain individual that has caused a great deal of pain and suffering in the fire department.
Just a reminder that we're about an hour and 20 minutes into a meeting that had no agenda. And I am thankful to JD Productions for supplying the camera tonight. I'm glad someone saw fit to tape this meeting, because obviously it goes a lot deeper than this. You facing a personnel issue here as soon as we leave and you go into private session. Once again, I'll have to say, first of all, someone brought it up about, one of the homeowners somehow had an in going to Levin's office. God bless her for being able to do that. But what about all the other residents who don't have that opportunity? That's right. And here we are once again, you embrace the Department of Justice. You embrace anyone who can go get help from Levin or McCotter or anybody else. But what are you doing? You're the one who misplaced the letter that came many months ago when we had the window to fight it. Now we're all scrambling. People are worried about losing their houses. People are worried about how they're going to pay these high premiums. And meanwhile, you wanted to sit up there and just let, well, if Levin's helping or if McCotter's going to help. Well, what about the plan? What about the written procedure? Where's the written procedure for why this meeting's not taped? Where's the written procedure to change times for a meeting? You can post all you want according to the law. You posted it by 1 o'clock and everything was good. But we all know that the reason it got posted the way it did was because by 7:10, if no one was here, the meeting's over and you guys are in executive session. And that's how you operate. That's your definition of transparency. It always has been. Transparency is good for you when it works for you. You look around this whole township and you see people suffering from your form of transparency. People trying to improve their lives because of your transparency. They're having to go through a lot more expenses. People that are now in floodplain because of you and your transparency. So again, 7 o'clock shouldn't have surprised anybody. I'm glad the camera crew was here on time. I'm sure they had a later date to get to, and I'm glad you were able to adjust their schedule. All you board members that were able to get here at 7 o'clock, we appreciate you coming too. But transparency, look that word up, please.
I just wanted to say quickly that I didn't have an in with Levitt. I wrote my representative, and I mailed it on a Wednesday. He got it on a Thursday, and I got a call from FEMA on a Friday. And I know other people are having problems with FEMA as well and the floodplain, but I started contacting the township the day after Easter, and I got to worry about me since no one else seems to be worried about me. So that's why I said, if I can send it to Lori and expedite it, I want to, because I'm paying insurance, not you.
Okay, if there's no further comment, motion to go into closed sessions in order. So, motion by trustee, supported by trustee Parker. Roll call, please. Roll call. Secretary Stevens.
Trustee Jack?
Yes.
Trustee Partridge? Yes. Trustee Ostrowski?
Yes.
Trustee Hart?
Yes.
Treasurer Bud? Supervisor White?
Yes. Closed session at 8:22, and we will reconvene in this hall only for the purpose of adjournment. 5-minute break for closed session.
Can't get the thing stopped.